The lactate threshold. We hear it all the time in running, but what actually is it and how do we train it? It's very simple really. The lactate threshold is the point at which your body creates too much lactate to get rid of whilst running, so it has to slow you down. So in this video you're going to learn how to find your threshold and then how to train it so that eventually you can run faster at threshold, meaning faster running overall.
Well, aren't we lucky that I've got the perfect guinea pig? I'm married to a guinea pig, a human one, but Mary is out here on the track doing her warm-up, and then I'm going to strap a camera to her head and we're going to see what a threshold session looks like from inside the threshold session. I'm going to talk to you about all of the things that we look for and we do to make sure that it's a dialed in session, that we squeeze the juice out of it. It's an amazing session.
Hi, it's Tuesday, I'm at the track, first time in a while, which is really exciting. I'm here for my lactate threshold session, so it's going to be about 15k total. I'm going to do a 3k warm-up, 2k at marathon pace, and then 1600, 1200, 800, 400 with 2 minutes recovery, and repeat that whole set, and then a cool down.
So in this video we're going to show you the structure of our threshold sessions, and we're also going to let you know how we know what our threshold is in the first place. But we're going to start with something that should never be ignored, particularly in these sessions, and that's an easy warm-up. So we tend to start with 2 kilometers of easy running, followed by some dynamic stretches and some run drills.
It just strikes me now that they might not know that your background is dancing. Like dance teacher, dance specialist, dancing growing up, as well as athletics.
Yeah.
Who knew, hey? Can you do a... Yeah, there you go, that's what I was going to say. What's the stages or whatever they're called?
Then after the warm-up and drills, we like to do 1 to 3 kilometers, depending on the week, of goal marathon pace, which is only relevant if you're training for a marathon and you have a pace in mind, but it does help us dial into the threshold efforts to come because they're harder than this.
So this stage over here, Mary's over here now, she's doing 2 kilometers at goal marathon pace because we just want her body to get used to that feeling of that pace when she's in Tokyo. So we kind of do it at the start of every threshold session. You don't need to put that there. We do. It's just training the brain and body a little bit. So she's got 2 kilometers at her new, and it's going to be punchy because obviously we're in an oven.
So I'm in my 2k marathon pace section, second lap. Can't quite find the pace yet. Started off too fast. Tried to dial it back and then I'm like behind, but I'm trying to be so disciplined, just get it right in a nice rhythm. Feels like controlled but engaged, like efficient running.
So here's the point at which it would be difficult to continue if you didn't know your lactate threshold. Not impossible, but trickier. So there's a number of ways you can get a good idea of that threshold, and the best way is lab testing. It costs money, but it gives you a great idea of where your threshold is using blood testing to gauge the lactate levels during exercise that gets harder. And our lab test results put our lactate thresholds, both of us, actually at 175. But the purest non-lab testing form is to run an all-out 30-minute time trial and then use the heart rate average from the last 20 minutes. And we don't use the first 10 minutes because the heart rate is going to be rising at that stage. But again, if you've done a flat or fast 5 or 10k race, that's going to work just as well. You just need around 25 to 30 minutes of usable heart rate data. So if you run a 5k in 18 minutes, then it's actually better to use a 10k because you've got more data set. Take my 10k here, it was a 35-minute 10k, so I'm going to take the average heart rate from the last 20 minutes, just as an example, and that comes out at 184. And then I go to Joe Friel's heart rate zones calculator, and I'll put a link in the description, and I input that 184, and using this non-lab method, my heart rate threshold was calculated as 173, when my lab threshold is 175. 2 beats per minute, that's not bad, right? But it just goes to show if you don't have access to a lab, then getting out there and doing similar on a road, it's gonna be in the ballpark for sure. And crazily, Mary was the same. So now we've got a lactate threshold number to work to, and I use 176 because that's 1 beat per minute into zone 4. It's just above that lactate threshold, so we can stress the body into responding.
Okay, filming rig So what's the first one?
1600 meters.
Okay, so you press it on this side to turn it on and you'll feel a buzz. Do you want me to just turn it on? Okay, ready? It's on!
I didn't feel a buzz.
I felt it, don't worry. Enjoy!
Right, deep breath.
Okay, let's talk approach to the threshold session. Whilst this week is decreasing distances, and some weeks it's kilometre repeats or 1200s, etc., the approach is always the same. Run the first rep at a pace you believe you could run the last rep of the session at, because it's gonna get harder as fatigue and, in our case, heat are factored in. The point is not to get to your threshold heart rate as quickly as you possibly can, it's about building there gradually. So to start with, we prioritise feel as the main metric. We'll aim for a pace we think feels like between 10 kilometre pace and half marathon pace, or that would be a feel of around 8 out of 10. As you can see here, Mary is closer to 10k pace than half marathon pace, but I'll tell you why that is in the next rep. The effort's got to be balanced and the heart rate monitored, because we don't want Mary to be running with a heart rate much higher than her lactate threshold. That's the beauty of threshold training. It is hard, especially in the heat, but it's not as aggressive on the body as, say, a speed session like a VO2 max 200 repeat. You can recover nicely from threshold sessions and you can run again the next day. So it's all about balance and managed effort. So one thing to note, and it's why I've added some brackets in the information above, is that whilst our thresholds are 175 beats per minute, we actually allow our heart rate to get to around 181 in Thailand. If we were in the UK, we'd be quite strict with the 176 beats per minute limit, but here, due to the intense heat and humidity, some of those beats per minute have nothing to do with the lactate threshold process. They're preoccupied with trying to cool us down and stopping us from exploding. So in Thailand, around 180 to 181 is still around our lactate threshold. So we aim for anything between 176 and 181 as a rule. And in this rep, Mary's going to be feeling pretty good about things. She's running on the faster end of her threshold ability, but her heart rate is still playing ball, which is a great indicator of the level of conditioning she's got. And to be honest, we're probably due a retest, as we've gone through a fair few marathon cycles working on our threshold since we were last tested, so I'd expect the threshold to be a bit higher than it was, again justifying going up to the low 180s. The second rep in usually feels the best for us because our body's starting to wake up to what we're doing. After each rep, we rest for 2 minutes as well, and in the UK maybe it would be 90 seconds, but again the heat here is a factor and we want to prioritise quality of the rep and not half-assed the recovery. So if we need to take a little bit more time, that's what we're going to do.
I've got my Pumas in my bag. I might put them on for the next round.
I said to Mary, look, just be
warm.
careful because of the Achilles, but maybe
I'll be properly warm by then.
one set of reps should be alright.
Yeah. Oh, gotta go.
Oh, I've got to press start then.
Thanks.
What are you doing?
Alright, doing well so far.
Yeah.
We've got the light still. Okay.
So in the 800 metre and the 400 metre repeats, the great thing about threshold sessions is that your pace can get faster whilst you're still at the same heart rate, because you're not having to hold it for as long. So in the 1600 metre rep, Mary may have been running around 355 per kilometre at threshold. In this 800 metre rep, she's running 20 seconds faster at 335, but is still at threshold. Obviously this doesn't work if you're doing, say, 10 lots of 1 kilometre, but it's nice to mix it up week on week to see little shoots of progress. And another great thing about the repeatability of these sessions is the fact that you can do them each week and you can look back at the paces you were running earlier in the training block to what you're running now, and you'll most likely see that you are getting faster at threshold in real time. And if you're getting faster at threshold, then you're getting faster overall.
Halfway, give me your honest assessment.
Yeah, I'm really happy because I was kind of nervous. I haven't been down to the track for a while and kind of run at this pace and effort, but it's feeling good. Yeah, really enjoying it.
And what's the heart rate doing?
Yeah, playing ball. So I'm just sitting in at low zone 4 and yeah, running pretty hard. So yeah, moving well.
And you're allowed low zone 4 because we account for the heat.
Yeah.
I've already explained that, but
Okay.
just to make sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, have a good one. What's this, 1600 again?
Yeah, 4 laps.
Yay! Go, go, go.
So what do our sessions look like? Generally, week on week, we do one of about 5. We do 1600 metre repeats, usually between 4 or 6 depending on where we're at in the training cycle, 1200 metre repeats, and we'll do about 6 to 8 of those, 1 kilometre repeats, 8 to 10 of them, 800 metre repeats, usually about 10 to equal 8 kilometres of effort, and sometimes we'll do this style of session where we mix up the distances. And even in today's sessions, sometimes we'll add a kilometre repeat between the 1200 and the 800 rep and go twice through, and that would equal 10 kilometres of effort at threshold. As I say, depending on where we're at in the cycle, our workout almost always equals 15 kilometres, but it's how it's made up changes. We'll aim for around 2 to 3 kilometres of good warm-up, 1 to 3 kilometres of marathon paced work, 7 to 10 kilometres of threshold work, and then whatever's left to cool down. And the further into the training cycle we are, the more time we spend at threshold. So maybe we'll do 8 times 1 kilometre repeat early on for an 8 kilometre total, and nearer the race it might be 10 lots of 1 kilometre repeat. We keep the recoveries to 2 minutes regardless of rep distance because it's just so hot over here, and if there was ever a particular session that has moved the needle for us more than any other, it's these threshold sessions, but they really require a high level of discipline as well. As the session creeps on and the light fades, it does get a little bit tougher, and we tend to notice that in the early weeks of doing this, the pace drops off in the final few reps as we try not to go over our threshold heart rate, but as the training progresses, where maybe we could have held the pace for 7 of the 10 kilometre reps early in the cycle, maybe it's then 8 and then it's 9 and eventually it's 10 at the same pace. And as an added bonus, all other types of session feel easier and smoother as well. We make sure we recover really well after each of these track sessions, a good cool down and a stretch, we drink plenty of fluid and we get a good meal in us. And there's no set time that we should be able to run at threshold. We're all essentially different, so some people maybe can hold threshold pace for an hour, whereas for some it could be 20 minutes, and it's rumoured that Eliud Kipchoge is pretty much there for 2 hours. But what I do know about training this way at threshold is that the more you do it, the better your body gets at clearing the lactate, and the longer you can run at threshold and the faster you can run at threshold. This is a no-brainer in terms of bang for your buck sessions, as long as you're disciplined and you do it right.
How's that? Smile. This is it, last rep.
Here we go.
400.
If I could leave you with this advice around these sessions, it's that in the early days of marathon training, like you've never run one before, then these aren't gonna be the be all and end all. They're more aggressive on the body, and while you're learning and running and your body is playing catch up, then easy runs and maybe some tempo runs might be a bit kinder to you. But if you've run a marathon or two or a few and you're looking for a session that can move the needle, then this definitely can. You can go wrong if you go too hard, but absolutely part of marathon training is being disciplined and consistent anyway, so it'll be a lesson as you go. We do it once a week, and depending on experience, we'll either do it in the last 9 weeks of an 18-week training cycle, or we'll do it all 18 weeks if we're going into the cycle with a good base level of fitness already. And just a little plug here, but we've got a bunch of training plans for all distances in our membership group, so if you want some more guidance on the lactate threshold and beyond, and the best community out there, then you know where to find us. I'll put a link in the description. Which ones are my favourite? Probably the 800 metre repeats, mainly because you can leave your drinks bottle in just one place. But seriously, we love them all, and we love being able to see that tangible progress week on week, block on block. As far as session types go, this has to be our favourite of them all, and we hope you'll love it too if you try it. Mary smashed this one, so it was a great session all round.
Oh no. Okay, she's handed me that because she did not like that.
Coming up, you know.
I won't make you do that again, Mary. Agree?
which is good.
I'll hold you to that.
No, until the next time.
And now you know how to structure a threshold session. If it helped, consider subscribing so we can help you some more, and check out this video on how to run a faster marathon, and it works because we've done it.